KCCA Executive Director Dorothy Chisaka. This follows an IGG report on what caused the Kitezi landfill disaster that happened in August. Now, the President had directed an investigation on the disaster that claimed over 50 lives, injuring others and destroying property. In a two-page document, President Museveni also relieved the Deputy Executive Director, Engineer David Luyimbazi, and Director for Public Health, Dr. Daniel Okello.
In a decisive response to the findings of the Inspector General of Government IGG report concerning the Kitezi landfill disaster, His Excellency the President of the Republic of Uganda has exercised his constitutional authority under Article 172(1)(a) of the 1995 Constitution to dismiss several key officials of the Kampala Capital City Authority KCCA in the public interest due to significant evidence of criminal negligence. The President has dismissed the following KCCA officials: Mrs. Dorothy Chisaka, Executive Director; Engineer David Luyimbazi, the Deputy Executive Director; Dr. Daniel Okello, the Director of Public Health. The IGG's report clearly outlined the severe oversight and negligence exhibited by these officials. In light of these findings, the President has called upon the Criminal Investigations Department, CID, and other crime management agencies to thoroughly investigate the matter further, focusing on the angle of criminal negligence associated with this distressing event. To ensure a swift transition in leadership, the President has directed the Public Service Commission to advertise the positions of the Executive Director, Deputy Executive Director, the Director of Public Health, with a goal of appointing new officials within 3 months. Additionally, the Minister for Kampala is tasked with advising the President on interim appointments for these crucial positions to ensure that operations within KCCA continue without disruption until permanent replacements are in place. The President remains committed to upholding accountability and maintaining the highest standards of governance for the benefit of all citizens.
Following the dismissal, members of parliament have expressed mixed reactions of the top official at the Kampala Capital City Authority. While some MPs praised the decision of the president as necessary for the accountability and governance, others voiced concerns about the implications for stability and leadership within the authority.
He was not satisfied with what was taking place in Kitezi. He noted some few points that KCC officials for a long time have been negligent in what they are doing. He said that they did not allow people to settle. They wouldn't have allowed people to settle near that landfill by 2005, which they did. That they did not respect the gradient of the pile of the waste without observing, apparently, the scientific practice of the recommended safe slope. So that means the mountain was too high. So it was not safe for the people. They did not compact the waste management with Maram. And for them, they claimed that they were doing so. And we had a standby vehicle there, which was doing that, mixing Maram, and which was not done. And they did not listen to the alarm of the concerned officer and taking emergency measures. Corruptly spending 7 billion hiring earth-moving equipment instead of spending 3 billion to buy their own, because they've been just hiring that machine. Going against NEMA directives to only dump the waste at Katikolo and continuing to dump waste at Kitezi by private concessionaires. Then he said the 3 officers should leave. That is Madame Dorothy Chisaka, the Executive Director, the Deputy Executive Director, Engineer Luyimbazi, who moreover is an engineer, could not see that slope of the pile were dangerous slip. So they were dangerously steep because it was too high. Then the Director of Public Health would advise as a Director for Public Health. So he said, given the powers to the president by the year 1995, he requests the CID and other crime management agencies to look at the angle of criminal negligence. So that means they have questions to answer.
In the eyes of the public, I think the decision is the right decision because the public expected action to be taken. They attributed the Kitezi disaster to negligence and, of course, incompetence. So, on that account, I think Ugandans should commend the president for taking action quickly, and the fact that he had to commission an investigation so that he acts on the findings.
President for having realized this and having fired Madam Chisaka and the Director for Health and the Deputy Director, but also call upon him to ensure that the people who are to replace these very people are competent.
CA as an institution, they were handicapped. They could not do anything. They could only wish well. How much can you do without money? The person who was supposed to release money into that institution never did his work. However, the blame is now borne onto the people who were in the place, in the very first place.
We have been giving the city management so much money in billions to construct markets, to do roads, to clean up the city, but everything has been in a mess for the last 4.5 years. So I think that action which has been taken by the executive to put on hold the leadership of Madam Dorothy Kisaka and her some few colleagues is something which is on point from government.
Kampala Lord Mayor Erias Lukwago has applauded President Yoweri Museveni's decision to dismiss those responsible for the Kitezi landfill disaster out of office. However, he is calling for further investigations and prosecution of all implicated individuals. The president's action follows an investigation by the Inspector General of Government into the roles of Executive Director Dorothy Chisaka, her Deputy David Luimbazi, and Director for Public Health Dr. Daniel Okelo. The Kitezi landfill disaster, which occurred on the 10th of August, resulted into over 50 fatalities and significant property damage.
I'm glad I'm vindicated. A decision has been taken, though it has come a little late, because a lot of water has gone down the bridge since 10th of August when the incident happened. It's not enough to have these people interdicted. There must be prosecution of those who are culpable, particularly those who were responsible for squandering 4.1 billion annual allocation towards maintenance of Kitezi. Because that nefarious and criminal conduct invites sanctions, legal sanctions. It's the reason we are demanding for prosecution against those particular individuals. It's the reason we are demanding that the IGG must make the report public. It has to be known. What are the findings? Who did what or who failed to do what? Who slept on the job? Who squandered the money? Generally, who is responsible for the catastrophe, the disaster that claimed lives of many innocent Ugandans? The IGG ought to explain to us in detail what is contained in that report. I had a meeting with at State Hall. There was a meeting. There was a meeting before Kadaga. Kadaga had called for a meeting. After that meeting, the team came to State Hall, involving the Minister for Kampala, the State Minister, the then Acting Director, Engineer Luimbazi, the then Director Public Health, Okelo, and other directors. They were all there together with my second members. We sat in a crisis meeting this afternoon to resolve to deal with some of these issues, especially in regards to the fraud there is in the procurement of land for the alternative dump site. Details of what we need to do will be given out to you tomorrow at a press conference, and also the actions we are going to take going forward. So tomorrow at 10 a.m. we have a press conference to roll out the program of action we are going to take in the wake of the new developments, where you have 3 senior managers at Stay Hall interdicted, and also all these issues attendant to what has happened.
Issues to do with the dismissal of officials at KCCA. Will give you all the developments that will come by. Prime Minister of Uganda, Robert Nabanja, has held several meetings with the development partners at the sidelines of the Summit for the Future in New York. The development partners included the President of the United Nations General Assembly, President Philemon Young, Professor Jeffrey Sachs, and world-renowned economic professor, best-selling author, innovative educator and global leader in sustainable development, the chairperson of the African Union Commission, Moussa Faki.
While meeting Education Above All Foundation based in Doha, Qatar, directors at the Uganda Permanent Mission in New York, Nabanja, says that Uganda has made progress on universal education but needs support to ensure even the children of the poor families access and remain in school. Nabanja says that when President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni introduced universal primary education in 1997, the number of pupils who enrolled for school shot up, but retaining them in school is a challenge.
Uganda is lucky to have a young population, but another challenge. It's a challenge because we have to provide education, we have to provide jobs, we have to plan properly in order for us to move. So Uganda is eager to partner with the Education Above All initiatives to create meaningful change.
The chairperson of National Planning Authority of Uganda, Professor Pamela Mbabazi, says that the intervention in education will supplement government policy on education.
So we are ready to work, of course, with the Prime Minister's leadership to ensure that we get the data correct, that we'll be able to paint that picture to show what needs to be done and what funding needs to be collected to really turn around the education.
Professor Jeffrey Sachs and the directors of Education Above All Foundation assured the Prime Minister that they'll work with the government of Uganda to develop human capital.
It's really great and long-standing initiative to do what it says, which is to provide education for every child. So our commitment is very strong and I think very timely, because the